No, you make a
But
good point
anyway,
though. Peter Nygaard,
long
Epstein, who else? The guy from L.A. I don't remember the guy's name. Because I
This is a tale as old as time. It takes
yeah,
Weinstein. It takes
Weinstein. Yeah,
it takes the survivor stepping forward. Let the survivor speak. Amplify the voices of survivors. They will tell you everything that
yes,
you need to know. And if one story sounds like a cherry pick situation, go to the human trafficking hotline. They've been collecting data and statistics for many, many years.
yeah. Well, what shocks me is that 20 years ago was our first law written into to help protect sex trafficking. Like what? Only 20 years ago? Like that's pretty crazy to me. Do you know what the law is by off the top of your head? What was it?
Oh gosh, you're testing my knowledge now.
That's okay. Sorry,
What is
I'm
it?
I'm curious though.
It's the law that actually makes human trafficking illegal in the United
Okay.
States. So it's the actual law that makes human trafficking illegal. There have been a couple
Wow.
things that have been added since then, like FOSTA SES in 2018. FOSTA SES is specifically for those that have been sex trafficked online, human trafficked online.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about this because I see this is everyone's talking about this right now on Twitter. And I know that you have a few things to say about it. I'm just going to read this out to everyone here. Twitter refused to remove child porn because it didn't violate policies, and they're being sued for it now. All right, this is pretty incredible. You know what? We could just talk about it because I know you know a lot about it. I've read about it a lot as well. So this child who was I think 13, right, was coerced into, you know, I don't know if it was a video, right, or something. I don't know exactly what it was. That was, but he was coerced into doing some things, and it went up on Twitter, and it was I don't know if it didn't necessarily go viral, but probably in those circles it certainly was. It was shared around. It had hundreds of thousands of views. Um, and he actually went to Twitter and said, I am underage. I was trafficked." And they were like, it didn't violate any of our policies. So we're not going to take it down. Did I sum it up fairly decently?
Yeah, I think that. Well, first of all, I want to start off by saying that I was introduced to John Doe's case in the summer, and I'll never forget that day because I was speaking to someone close with the case,
Yeah.
and I had to pull over. Uh, I think when you hear the numbers, um, that child's sexual abuse was watched 160,000 times on Twitter.
It's disgusting.
Um, I've had a couple videos go kind of viral on Twitter, and I have never reached 160,000 views.
Yeah.
John Doe found out that his abuse was going viral on Twitter because his classmates told him. John Doe was on the brink of suicide. John Doe
Wow.
provided Twitter photo identification to prove his identity. John Doe was still a minor. John Doe was still a minor when he reported. And when you read some of these transcripts back and forth between Twitter, you can't help but thank God that John Doe is still alive. John Doe was on the brink of suicide.
Yeah.
Now, what's the saddest part? The saddest and most sick part is that John Doe is not alone. He's the voice for countless children that have been sex
Yep.
trafficked on big tech and Twitter. The numbers are there. This is not a new conversation. So it has been something that has been on my heart very much. Um, Jane Doe, John Doe's mother, is an absolutely incredible woman.
Yeah.
And I can say she will be taking on Twitter like none other.
Good.
And Jane Doe and I have had an opportunity to speak to multiple politicians because I was also sex trafficked on Twitter.
Wow.
And so I've always called John Doe my missing puzzle piece. I just have a special place in my heart for this kid.
Yeah.
But I think, we had an opportunity to speak in front of members of Congress together. Our stories have been heard by the House Senate.
Good.
And, it was good, but it's not enough. And I know that John Doe deserves to get justice and that John Doe is not alone. My hope is that John Doe's story encourages survivors in the United States and around the world to step up and to speak and to tell their story if they are ready. And they could contact the National Center on Sexual Exploitation Law. That's the National Center on Sexual Exploitation Law if they want to talk to someone about their experience.
Yeah. What can what can the average person do? What I talk about it, I've got you on my show, but still, like, I'm sure there's more I can do. I don't want to clog up any lines, but I want to bring awareness to it. But what can the average person that wants to help do? Is there something that someone can do?
Sorry, Adam. This is my favorite question. I just think it's funny that my cats are going crazy. I had such an emotional day because of John Doe. We've been waiting for this story to come out for months.
Yeah,
This is like John. This is like a day I've been waiting for months, and I just, I just want to thank everyone that shared this story, whether or not you have a big platform. It definitely means a lot to me, and I know somewhere it means a lot to John Doe. So I
yeah,
apologize. I've just been so emotional all day, which I'm never normally emotional in interviews. But this
that's okay.
case, man, this kid, he's so brave. It's like
Yeah,
wild. You know what I mean? Like I wish I had half the bravery of John Doe. It's wild. But
yeah.
yeah, I love the
So you
question. How
said
do
it though.
people?
Sharing stuff like this to let people know that it exists, to be aware of
Yeah,
it.
so now my cats are fighting from underneath the door. This is unbelievable, Adam. You're never gonna have me on as a guest. Your next guest you're gonna have on is my cat.
Yeah.
Pinky, go
Someone
find some business.
someone just said in the chat that Twitter paid your cats to fight. the the cat
Seriously, that
the
sounds
cats
about
were brought
right.
to you by by Jack Dorsey. Oh, that's
I might have a little DM coming for Jack Dorsey later because I haven't hit him up in a while, and I want to see what he has to say about this, about John Doe. I've been waiting. I'm sitting on that one.
yeah.
Anyway, the best ways to get involved. I'm so sorry for all the distractions. The best ways to get involved are to find out your local organizations that are serving survivors. Research those organizations and volunteer your time, talent, or treasure.
Yeah.
The podcast space has been amazing and very welcoming to me, and I'm so appreciative of that because it's really helped to amplify the message at a time when we can all use sort of a bipartisan issue to all get behind. Human trafficking is a human rights violation every single time, as we know, and it
Absolutely.
is completely a bipartisan issue. So this is definitely something we can all rally behind. So you look for your local organization. If there isn't one in your area, think about starting one. Use your time, talent, and treasure. So if you have a special skill, use it for the movement. If you cut hair, call up your local survivor safe house. Ask if survivors or advocates need a free haircut. Or when they do a fundraising event, raffle off some haircuts as a fundraising event for your salon. If you are a carpenter, call your local safe house. See if they need help with something. If you have extra money, see what they need. It's winter time. Survivors need coats.
Yeah.
If you have an apartment complex, work with your local safe house, see if a survivor is ready to transition to long-term aftercare, and see if you can give them an apartment for a year for free. These are all ways that you can get involved without spending too much time, without giving too much money, and then also
Yeah.
getting educated. Oh my gosh, these cats are all getting, you cats
That's
will
all
be,
right. No, it's interesting because you mentioned, get to know your local um you know safe place for these trafficked victims, and even someone responded. They asked, I'm up in Canada, I'm a trucker, like, what can I do? And sure
so
enough,
Canada,
there's a Canadian trucker like group specifically for that, and they were like, wow, I'm gonna go become a part of it. So you'd be surprised, people out there, how many groups there are that may be local, but they're out there. You just reach out and see what you can do to help them. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I always let folks know, like, they don't need to come to me. They don't need to come to my Twitter page. They can enter the movement the exact same way that I did, which is by Googling. I Googled.
It's the
That's
way
what
of
I
the
did.
future.
When I moved to a new area, I Googled.
Yeah.
where the organization was. And then after I volunteered for the organization, the local organization, for a while, then they sent me to become a certified survivor advocate in 2 states. I always recommend that anyone that's getting prepared to work with survivors gets a background check and also becomes fully equipped to be a survivor advocate.
Yeah.
That's something that we require here. Different states have different rules, and different organizations have different rules. I will let you know that this is not an easy thing to jump into, and you could encounter some of the most terrifying, traumatizing things of your life. So there might be a different way that you can serve survivors without having direct contact with survivors.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
mean, you could see how, listen, Adam, you could see how much John Doe's affected me. And I've known this story inside and out and the whole situation. I've walked with them the entire way, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
not the entire way, but just about. It was when I stepped forward and started talking about my experience with being trafficked on Twitter that I got in kind of collaboration with the John Doe story. You can see, I mean, I'm crying today. I've been I don't want to say a mess, but I've been kind of messy today because it's just
Yeah.
so much pain involved in this situation that so that's the toll that it does take on people. And that's why, if you don't think maybe you're ready for it, or if you just want to kind of dip your toes in the pond, there's a million ways. I always say, whatever your skill is, we need it. I
Yeah.
especially in 2020 and late 2020 and in 2021 have asked folks in tech, clearly Twitter, YouTube, Facebook have, and Pornhub, and the list goes on, have a child sexual abuse material problem. We need this child sexual abuse material taken off the internet. During the
Yeah.
COVID-19 lockdowns, we've seen a 126% increase in reported child sexual abuse material to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Those numbers were verified by the White House. So take what the numbers were in 2019
Yeah.
and up them by 126%. We're talking images and videos in
Wow.
the billions. We're talking
That's nuts.
billions. So we need tech to get involved, which is one of the reasons why I, made a public statement towards Elon Musk and have done a lot of other wild things, just asking for help. We need help from tech.